everyone and welcome back. So today, Senator Victor Umeh reacted of what is happening, like what Igbos are going through in Lagos. According to him, he sent a serious warning, let Igbos breathe. So Senator Victor Umeh's strong message against the Lagos state government over what he calls the unlawful demolition of Igbo-owned properties in Lagos. So recently, the Lagos state government carried out large-scale demolitions at the trade fair complex in Ojo, Lagos, an area dominated by Igbo traders. So according to the report, buildings and shops were pulled down and many business owners lost millions of naira of goods. Senator Victor Umeh, representing Anambra Central, condemned the action, describing it as illegal and unacceptable. He said that the trade fair complex is federal property, not under Lagos state control, and that the demolitions were done without notice or consultation. So my people, the truth is gradually coming out. So even if some buildings were illegal, there is a right way to enforce the law, right? Government should issue proper notice, give people time to respond and follow due process. Demolishing the buildings without warning, it is abuse of power. And if the trade fair complex is federal property, just as Senator Victor Umeh said here, then Lagos state government clearly went beyond its authority. You cannot just destroy people's properties overnight without notice. That is not governance. You are just oppressing people. And I love that Igbo elders, Igbo leaders, they are not speaking up, because this is really getting out of hand, my people. Let me allow you guys to listen and hear everything Senator Victor Umeh said concerning this matter. Take a listen.
Yeah. So let's start from, the federal capital before we begin to look at politics at the state or at the national. All eyes are on the National Assembly, especially with events in the last couple of months. The activism towards, securing the gender bill in a good place before it gets to the state. There's also constitutional, review conversation. So what are we to expect from the Senate as the National Assembly resumes tomorrow? And which of the bills will the Senate be giving priority?
Well, the Senate and the National Assembly at large will be doing the jobs assigned to by the Constitution. If there are any bills before the National Assembly, you can be sure that those bills will be most patriotically debated in the national interest. So most times people want to give directives to the National Assembly. We are the representatives of the people, and we know what the country needs because we are in touch with the people. Any bill that is before us that is desirable with a view to promoting national integration or development, the National Assembly will patriotically deal with it. So I would say that the people will expect everything, because once we are properly constituted and we go to work, we cannot avoid discussing anything of national interest. So what is important is that if there are things before us and anybody has interest in them, they have to prepare. Lawmaking is a collective process. The Senate or the National Assembly will not pass any bill without subjecting it to public hearing. So if you have any strong points for or against a bill, you make use of a public hearing. That's why you come and make your points. The National Assembly, of course, will look at the points made at the national public hearing and graft them into the decisions they will make to be able to say, we agree with this or we don't agree with this.
All right. There's one that is a major talking point, and for good reason, because of the standoff between the Senate leadership and the senator representing Kogi Central. If we have time, we're going to explore that part of the conversation later on. But let's quickly get to this one, which was also of huge concern over the past 2 weeks in Lagos. The demolition of trade fair structures, of structures at the trade fair, for which interpretations have been given that, business interests of Igbo extraction are being targeted. And we had this conversation with the Commissioner for Physical Planning in Lagos towards the end of last week. And explanations were provided to the effect that there is nothing of the sort, that your principal, and former governor of your state, Mr. Peter Umeh, was only trying to whip up sentiment, that if you went to trade fair, some of those structures were actually in serious breach of physical planning rules. How satisfactory is the explanation of the Lagos state government to its activities at the trade fair, to you and indeed to the Labour Party?
Well, it's not a party issue. It's about dealing with human beings with consideration of the law. The country is governed by the Constitution and a set of laws. I'm disappointed to hear that the Commissioner for Physical Planning in Lagos State came to you to justify her illegal action. The Constitution is very clear on what constitutes a breach of the law. And for you to hold somebody in breach of the law, you must be acting in accordance with the law. One, the trade fair complex in Lagos is the subject matter, where the Lagos state government moved in with heavy machines you've shown on this screen now, to go and destroy people's investments and buildings without any justification. Trade fair complex is a federal establishment, and the Commissioner for Physical Planning knows that federal lands are under the control of the agencies of federal government, not state government. There are federal lands, there are state lands. If you go to Lagos now, or any part of Lagos, any property that belongs to the federal government, you go to the federal land registry in Ikoyi to ascertain the title of that property. You don't go to Alausa, land registry in Alausa. In other words, there are clear demarcations of jurisdiction between federal lands and state lands. And I speak to you from the position of authority. I'm an estate surveyor and valuer. I'm very vast in land matters. I'm a fellow of Nigerian Institution of Estate Surveyors and Valuers. What the Commissioner for Physical Planning in Lagos State did was an affront and a breach of the law. The people who manage the trade fair complex are people in the trade fair management board. It has the board has a CEO and the executive director. And for the fiscal commissioner to say that they went there to enforce law, she's been economical with the truth. They've never gone to that place. The
commissioner is a he, by the way, but
is it a he or she?
He, yeah.
Okay, I thought they said
but he's also saying that that the jurisdiction is still a subject matter of contention and conversations are still being had. But he also went ahead to say that even if you said that the original structures that were there from the 70s are under the federal government, that the entrepreneurs, they are beginning to build on lands that have not been occupied, and that land is under their own jurisdiction as the Lagos state government. How do you respond to that?
Please, the trade fair complex is not in the moon. If you go there, it is a space that is clearly defined. And Lagos state government has never gone there to do anything, either to collect property rate or ground rent or anything, or grant approval for any development taking place in the trade fair complex. It is the trade fair management board that have been doing all this until they moved in about 2 weeks ago to bring down the buildings on the 25th of September. They have never gone there before in all the years gone by. So it's not a place they've been exercising authority over, oversight function or anything over the years. Their entrance into that place to destroy the buildings was an intrusion. And if you speak to the executive director or CEO of the trade fair management board, you get the facts. They were also shocked. The board was also shocked that Lagos state government can move into that place without telling them. Even the traders themselves were not given any notice. They were not written. They were not questioned over anything. What I read in the papers were that the buildings were on canals and drainages. People were building, without approval. That is not true. All those buildings that you saw erected there were approved by the Trade Fair Management Board.
You went there with Mr.
Yes,
Peter
we
Obi
went.
Alongside other senators.
Other senators, yes.
And you didn't see structures that were,
Clearly,
without compliance with building rules. You've said that you're an expert surveyor.
Yes.
The commissioner said that those structures were built on canals. They were in serious breach of,
I don't know who. I don't know who he is.
And as such, they should take responsibility for it because there are disasters waiting to happen. Surely you cannot ignore that part.
No. You are believing him. You have not gone there. I have gone there. The reason why we went to look at the demolitions, one was to ascertain the veracity of their claim that the buildings were on drainage channels or places they were not supposed to build anything. And when we got there, we went round the whole place. No building was standing on a canal or on a drainage channel. It is the same thing with what they did when they went into Abuledo in Lagos and started demolition buildings. When the place is in the hands of the Federal Housing Authority, not Lagos State Government, So when they want to act, they act knowing deliberately that they're doing the wrong thing and come back and tell a lie that the buildings were standing on drainage channels and roads. And when that of Abuledo happened, I had to I'm the Vice Chairman Senate Committee on Housing and Urban Development. I had to prevail on the Federal Housing Authority to oblige an investigation of what happened. And when the demolitions were going on, I had to speak to the then MD of the Housing Authority, Senator Benga Shafa, and he immediately halted the demolitions and allowed space for findings to be made. And the process of getting that done, another MD came in, the honorable that is there now. And patriotically, he agreed with me that you cannot demolish, look at what I say, demolish people's buildings. Let us go there. So on the 25th of January this year, I had to go to that Abuledo with the MD Federal Housing Authority, Honorable Oladimeji Tunde Ojo. We got there. We went around 2.5 hours in that estate. Will you know what happened? Not one building was standing on the canal or on the road, as they claimed. And he was surprised and he said, you people told me that these buildings were standing on canals and that. So where are they now? He moved in, he has resolved the issues and regularized that place. So this one, they went into the trade fair complex where they have no business to go into. And he's saying that the buildings are standing on canals. If you go tomorrow, the buildings are there. They're not movable. If you go, you see for yourselves that the buildings are standing clearly out of the channel. There was wide setbacks.
All right.
So it is a deliberate act to intimidate the people, which I don't want to accept. You have alluded to it in your opening statement, that Igbos are being targeted. I don't want to see it that way. I want to see it as the authority not doing the right thing.
All right.
And I came here with my constitution.
Yeah, I know that I came here with the constitution.
No, I came here with constitution. I want to read the line for you.
Okay.
I want to read the line for you.
Because Victor also has some questions for you.
Yes, I want to read a line for you. It says here, chapter 2 of this constitution defines how we live together in Nigeria. Chapter 2 and chapter 3. But if you come to chapter 2, 15, 3b, it says, it is the duty of the state to secure full resident rights for every citizen in all parts of the federation. In other words, everybody is entitled to live anywhere he likes in Nigeria, guaranteed by this constitution.
All right.
So this idea of, Igbos are in Lagos, they should go home and all that, go to a place, is baseless.
All right.
So you treat people with regard to the law. If you go there again, you see where it says that government actions shall be humane.
All right.
Government actions. So you see a building that is standing, people are doing business, you move in, caterpillar and all that, you pull down the building and go away. What have they done since they left?
All right.
Since they left, they have nothing to enforce.
Senator Umeh, suffice it to say at this point that we haven't believed any narrative.
Yes.
We're just capturing all sides to the story, capturing effectively as possible the position of the Lagos state government. But I'm sure Lagos has some questions for you. Over to you, Kayode.
Senator Umeh,
I'm not hearing you. Yes.
Right. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Right. So I was saying that this Lagos is Lagos studio, not Lagos state government. But, we had the commissioner seated right here in the studio. First, he said that this is not targeting the Igbos, that anybody is welcome, that the constitution is clear about that. So he said as much right here in our studio, because that was one of the questions we put to him. But he also said that plans must be approved by the Lagos state government if you want to place anything on land in Lagos state. What do you have to say to that about getting approval for a plan for a building? Who should give that approval?
Yes, every agency of government that is vested with right to administer interest in land will have approving authorities. It is not confined to Lagos State because it's Lagos State. The federal agencies of government, like in this case, this trade fair complex, they've been approving drawings. If you ask the commissioner sitting with you, ask him when have they approved a drawing for building development in that trade fair complex. When have they done it once? They've never done it. All these approvals have been given by the Trade Fair Management Board. They approve these drawings and give leases to people who develop properties there. They don't go to Lagos State government to get drawing approvals. And I'm asking him, let him tell you, when have they given approval for one building to be constructed in that place since 1995? Over 30 years. They've never done that. So it is just yesterday that they woke up and went and brought the buildings down, claiming that there were no building approvals. The estate or the trade fair complex has existed over 30 years. And Lagos State government has not been given approvals to developments taking place there. So this is his own claim, which does not stand. It doesn't hold water.
Okay.
Because that land does not belong to Lagos State government.
So we
have state lands.
Right. Are you by
they have their planning authority.
Right. Just to be clear, are you by effect or in essence saying that they have maybe derelicted their duty? Because it's the understanding is that there is concurrent jurisdiction. Yes, it's federally owned, but it's also in a state. So there's concurrent jurisdiction, perhaps in the area of physical planning, urban development, building regulation. So are you saying that over time they have neglected their role, their functions, and now they just all of a sudden woke up to that role? Is that what you're saying?
No, they didn't. Yes, what I'm saying, they didn't have the role at all. Ab initio. So it's not about the dereliction of duty, because they clearly know that they have no jurisdiction over that land. That's why we have every state in the Federation of Nigeria, you have federal lands. They build housing estates, and so on and so forth. And the state government do not go there. They don't interfere. The Federal Housing Authority has their own locations everywhere in the states of the Federation. They are charged with the responsibility of due management and administration of those federal lands. So the state government cannot go in. They don't have concurrent jurisdiction because it is clearly separated and defined. The lands that are in Lagos State that are not federal lands are vested on the governor of Lagos State. And when the lands that do not belong to Lagos State are federal lands, you don't exercise any jurisdiction over it. It's as simple as that. Because if they had that jurisdiction or role to exercise over the years, they would have been doing these things as a matter of routine and responsibility. They've never given any approval to anybody over 30 years. And this thing they're doing to these traders is because they think they can intimidate them. They cannot intimidate them. They have rights to be where they are, doing lawful businesses, and go to that place. These people have contributed so much to the development of Lagos. The same people you destroy their buildings, their businesses, are the people who are keeping the ports busy. They are the people who bring in goods from all over the world, clear them in the ports in Lagos, and you continue chasing them around. When they move their goods on the roads, you go and hold them in the roads and place all kinds of roadblocks for them, sometimes 50, before you go between one location and the other.
Right.
So you have to allow them. And like I said, the Constitution says government actions must be humane. If you want to say that there is something somebody has done that infringed the law, you give him notice. He must come.
The commissioner
give notice, give warning,
right,
and call the person and tell him this is what you have done. They didn't do any of it because they have no right to do so. The place doesn't belong to them. It's a federal land. They don't have jurisdiction over it.
Senator, the commissioner also said that they had given notice. There was mixed messaging in that sense, because the trader said they didn't get notice. He said they had gone to give notice, but some of their officials were harassed and all of that.
Kayode, let me tell you, we are all Nigerians.
I know. I'm just...
And when I come here, I have not come here to be bullied with lies. Because the man there knows that they have never given one building approval for any development to take place in the trade fair complex.
Right.
Let him bring one drawing they have approved in the past 30 years.
Well, that's a fair point.
Trying to intimidate people.
Right, that's a fair point. All I'm doing is representing the comments he made. Perhaps you missed it. I'm just representing the comments he made right here.
I'm not seeing his face. I want to see his face.
It's on our YouTube page. You can watch that. But Senator Umeh, this is a question.
You cannot hide.
Right. This is a question.
You cannot hide.
This is a question I want to ask. By the way, the interview was last week. We're meant to have you, but we couldn't have you. It was last week, Friday. But here's my question. There are a lot of people who also saw the visit by the Labour Party presidential candidate, Mr. Peter Obi, yourself, and Senator Baribe as, well, could be interpreted as provocative in that sense. Why not visit the governor? Why not visit the governor, some people have said, so it can be resolved at that level? So maybe you speak to the rationale behind that. Did you try to reach the governor? Was he unreachable? And for those who are maybe interpreting this as possibly provocative, what do you say to them?
No, they should not leave the substance and begin to chase shadow. People are doing their lawful businesses, and you moved in with machines to bring their buildings down, destroy their shops with the goods in them. And it is shown. It was shown on television. Everybody saw it. We had to go there. Myself, I'm an estate surveyor, and I told you, I knew that Lagos government was acting wrongly and against the law. So when we saw it, we are the representatives of the people. Over 70% of the people in that place are our people. And you cannot go and bully them and intimidate them and abandon them. Mr. Peter Obi was one of the developers of that trade fair complex, if you don't know. So he has a plaza there. Over 200 shops, far back in 1995. So, and he's a patron of the place. All the associations there, he is their patron. So he cannot see that, and people call him that they are being dealt with against the provisions of the law. And you want him to start running around to start looking for governor of Lagos State. So if the land belongs to Lagos State government, yes, the place to go will be to interface with the agents of government of Lagos. But they don't own the land. The land doesn't belong to them. They acted illegally. How can you now begin to tell somebody that is acting illegally and provocatively when you are completely in breach? And you know that the land does not belong to you. And you know that you have not been exercising oversight over that estate.
So why is the Federal Housing Authority,
why should you go there?
Why is the Federal Housing Authority, the voice of the Federal Housing Authority, visibly absent amongst, amid this conversation? We've heard the Lagos State government. We've heard the CEO of the trade fair complex. But the authority that you and the CEO, the entrepreneurs in trade fair are claiming to have jurisdiction, they're not speaking.
Well, maybe you have to go and ask them why they're not speaking. But trade fair complex does not belong to Federal Housing Authority. This place is under the purview of the Federal Ministry of Trade and Investment. They are the people managing the trade fair complex. The Federal Housing Authority is overseeing residential estates like Festac Town and the rest of it.
Or the Ministry of Commerce.
Or the Ministry of Commerce, So the truth is that sometimes when something happens, you begin to look much more deeply to know what is happening. I consider this action as unnecessary aggression against the people in Lagos. Demolitions are going on not only in trade fair complex. I've told you about Abulado, even though it was maturely handled by the managing director of the Federal Housing Authority because of my intervention. Demolitions are going everywhere. And Lekki, you see it every day. How can government be sleeping? People will now go and develop magnificent buildings, and you go and destroy them because you are the authority. Even if you have the right, government says that the constitution says that government actions should be humane. government action should be
what do you say from a bigger picture now? What do you say to people who say, you cannot just go to Igbo land also to buy land, that in fact non-indigens hardly own land in Igbo land because of culture, and other related issues? What do you say to them? And that they are overstepping their bounds in Lagos and in other parts?
That is fallacy. Anybody who wants to buy land in Igbo land will have access to land. Like these ones in Lagos, people have been buying and developing from Suenu chieftaincy family and the rest of them from 100 years ago. The Igbos are commercial people. They're all over the world. They drive commerce in West Africa, in Central Africa, beyond the shores of Nigeria, Asia, everywhere.
So, do non-indigens on a massive scale own land in Igbo land?
If you have money, want to buy land. I mean, it's an open market. If you see land to buy and you have money to pay for it, nobody can tell you, I will not sell to you. It's a question of demand and supply. If you have money to buy land and you spot any land, many people have bought lands in Onisha, in Oka, in Enugu, those who are interested. If you are not interested, the Igbos will not carry their land and come and give you.
All right. That must be subjected to some form of empirical study.
Yes.
Lastly,
nobody can deny you pockets of land.
We've seen your principal, Mr. Peter Obi, with former President Goodluck Jonathan, with a lot of speculations about what is exactly happening as far as that meeting is concerned ahead of 2027 presidential election. So what is the positioning of Mr. Peter Obi? Is he leaving the Labour Party? Is he registering with the ADC? What exactly is his strategy? Or is he working with former President Goodluck Jonathan? In 90 seconds, because we'll wrap up.
This question is not well placed. One is they are talking about Mr. Peter Obi and his political interest, what he wants to do. He saw him with Jonathan, his friend, and all that, and he want me to answer what they're discussing. One, for me, I didn't come here to discuss politics. What I came here to do is to emphasize the point that Igbos in Lagos should be left alone. They are contributing to the development of Lagos, and they've done that over the years. They're contributing to the GDP of this country. About 6.6 trillion naira was collected by the customs in this past 1 year. 6.6 trillion naira. Do you know those paying those duties? They are the Igbos.
All right.
They are the people bringing these goods from all over the world.
And paying duties.
You should allow them.
Politics.
You should allow them breathe.
I wanted you to speak to politics, or most anchor.
Allow them to breathe. Allow the Igbos to breathe. Let them do their business and respect their rights. We don't want people telling people to go away. It's like one day, worried people in Abuja will order everybody in Abuja to go back to their state. Everybody will leave Abuja.
All right.
So we don't promote such thing. The Constitution forbids it.
All right.
So if you see anybody, any citizen of Nigeria, according equal respect, equal rights, equal opportunities. That is the framing of this Constitution. We both didn't write this Constitution.
All right.
And for them to say that you grant every citizen of Nigeria full resident rights in all parts of the Federation, it's because of a thing like this.
All right.
When somebody starts claiming, after you come to develop his place, he will ask you to go.
Thank you so much.
It's very uncharitable. Very uncharitable.
We must really anchor at this point. Thank you so much.
Tell that commissioner that I would like to see him.
Victor Umeh, he's the senator representing Anambra Central Senatorial District and also former chairman of the All Progressives Grand Alliance. Of course, is now with the Labour Party. Thank you so much for your time on the program.
Thank you very much. And keep doing the good job you are doing here.
Yes.
Let Nigerians always know the truth.
All right.
Yes, people should act in accordance with the Constitution.
Indeed.
Follow the Constitution and the law.
All right.
And when you cross the line, you are creating problem.
We really must go now.
You are creating problem when you cross the line.
We'll take a break.
Shamras in News TV.